So this past weekend, I finished reading a book that was recommended to me called The Four Agreements. It's by Don Miguel Ruiz. And in this book, Ruiz notes that we create agreements in all different aspects of our lives. And these agreements we make to ourselves are really the most important. And there was one specific agreement that really stood out to me that I wanted to share because I, of course, strategically was able to relate it to business as well as the agreements that we make in our individual lives. And that agreement was called the being impeccable with our word. And, like a lot of things in our life, it's a simple sounding agreement, right? Just being impeccable with our word. But it really applies to the commitments and promises that we make to everyone that we have in our lives, including and especially ourselves, right? And when you think about in business and how it relates to business, it refers to those agreements that we make every day with our customers, our prospects, our referral sources, employees, contractors, suppliers, and everybody else that we interact with through the course of business, right? And if you think about the words that make up this agreement, being impeccable is really about being careful about what we commit to. And when we do commit to things, making sure that we follow through. So if you follow my content at all, you know that I'm huge on commitment, I'm huge on accountability, and they're really the things that have lined me personally up for success, but lines up so many of the other business owners and people that I've worked with for success in their life. And this specific agreement especially refers to agreements that we may dismiss as being even minor, right? So we think about all the things that we might commit to in a day. Some things are major, some things are minor. But for example, how many times have we told someone that we would follow up with them maybe later on in that day? Or sending an email when we got back to the office, and then maybe we just didn't follow through on that agreement. Right? Does that sound familiar to you? Not keeping our word on the minor commitments helps line us up for feeling better about missing major commitments. And when we don't keep our word on major commitments, it has real, very obvious impacts to us, right? And when you think about how small some issues are and think about how we can erode the trust of someone by just not picking up the phone and calling them or sending an email when we said we would, think about how that could erode the trust within someone. And especially in business, right? When we do that type of stuff and we don't do what we say we're supposed to do, even if it's small, it can work against our reputation, it can work against our referability, it could really damage that critical relationship that we have with the business partners that we want to be doing business with. And when you look at the second side of second part of what could be an impact of not being impeccable with our word is that we know to ourselves that we gave our word and did not honor the commitment. And I know for me that's big. It's being able to look myself in the mirror and know that I'm doing the right thing. If we do break that word often enough, we eventually know ourselves as someone that doesn't honor our own word, right? And how does that impact our self-perception? How does that impact our confidence and our ability to have faith in the fact that we honor our word? So I really related with this first agreement, this being impeccable with your word, because it's just so powerful in in our lives when we think about those commitments and how just not keeping those commitments can have such a a negative effect on our future. So love to get your comments as always. As how impeccable are you with your word, right? Do you keep your commitments and you see the value of keeping all of your commitments, whether they're big or they're small? And have you seen a case where maybe you haven't kept your word and you've seen some level of business impact? So as always, love your likes, love your shares, and we will talk to you again next time.